Today we are checking out some Joy-Cons from NYXi. So let's take a look. So here they are. These are the Joy-Cons from NYXi. Really pleased to be able to be given the opportunity to do a review video for these. They did send these out for free for review. No one is seeing this video before it goes live, and all these opinions are my own. I'm going to answer the very simple question: do I recommend these Joy-Cons? The answer is an astounding yes. I got to check out the Bimbox Slim Joy-Cons earlier on in the year, and that as well got a glowing recommendation, and these share a lot of similarities to those. So yeah, let's get straight into what I absolutely love about these Joy-Cons. So straight off the bat then, looking at what you get in the box, obviously you get your two Joy-Cons, you get a USB cable, you get your manual, and you get the grip for it as well. And again, this grip, you put your two Joy-Cons on it, and it basically, because of the size of these ones, they become a full-sized controller, which is actually really good because it means you don't have to go out and buy a dedicated controller for when you dock your Switch, because these are a pro controller replacement. In terms of the design of these, obviously they are quite substantially bigger than official Joy-Cons. And they are a bit bigger than the Slim Joy-Cons that Bimbox sent me to check out a little while ago. So these Joy-Cons from NYXi are basically two sides of a full-size controller. Very ergonomic, I must say. It is very comfortable to use in the hand. Maybe not the best size Joy-Cons for little kids. They'll probably struggle to wrap their hands around it, because little kids probably struggle to wrap their hands around a normal controller for like a PlayStation, etc. But in terms of the ergonomics of these Joy-Cons, I don't think there's any Joy-Cons better in the market at the moment. These have the best ergonomics of any Joy-Con that I've ever used, and that includes the SplitPad Pros. I don't own a pair of SplitPad Pros, but I have used a pair of SplitPad Pros, and these still feel better in my opinion ergonomically. In terms of the button switches, they are a linear switch. They're not clicky in the slightest. Even the shoulder buttons aren't clicky switches. The thumbstick is a full-size thumbstick. It has a textured outer edge to make them a lot more grippier, and they actually have a back button as well, so you can set this back button to one of the face buttons, so you don't have to take your thumb off of the thumbstick if you don't want to. For any of you that are wondering why my thumb, if you have seen it, if my thumb's looking gammy as hell, and why I won't be getting my normal B-roll of playing the Switch with these Joy-Cons just for the footage. Yeah, I crushed my thumb in a car door and my nail was just completely black, and yeah, it's probably going to come off at some point. In terms of the button qualities, the only buttons that are clicky are your home and screenshot buttons, your minus and plus buttons, and your turbo buttons, etc., and the back button. Apart from that, they're all linear switches and they all feel absolutely fantastic to use. They're good quality buttons. The plastic is good quality. It is a solid made product. It really is. This is one of the reasons why I question, for one, the price of Joy-Con so much. On the black pair here, you get this nice textured back, which I think if you get any solid color of these Joy-Cons, I don't think there are transparent ones of these. I'm not too sure, but they have like a nice textured back, which gives that more of a grip to it. Again, it feels really good. One thing I forgot to mention with the back button, and this is for me, I'd say a negative, is that because the Joy-Cons are separate, and the way that they have that memory functionality for the back button to a face button is done on the Joy-Con itself. You can't use the left Joy-Con back button for one of the right Joy-Con face buttons. You have to use it for a button on the same Joy-Con. So you can't say have B and A as your two back buttons. You have to have one of your face buttons, like A, and then a D-pad button, which I think is just not as useful. In a game like Pokemon Legends of Arceus, what I do is I use the up button to get into my inventory just at the push of a button, without having to take my thumb off the thumbstick. The D-pad, even though it's the shape of the D-pad for me, I don't think's the greatest, because it's got a very thick inner portion of the D-pad. If it was just a cross and a cross, I don't think it would have this issue. But if I'm going round on the D-pad, when I get to one of the corners, it kind of catches slightly, which I think just isn't that great. But again, it's much better than not having a D-pad at all on official Joy-Cons. The actual switch, linear switch, is nice. They're not clicky, etc. And it's not a mushy D-pad. It's just if you're say playing like a fighting game, etc., if you're getting caught on those corners because you're trying to do like a combo, it wouldn't be that great of an experience. But yeah, that is something. They're better than the Binbox Slims that I have, the D-pad. But again, not perfect. Still room for improvement here. So obviously you don't get everything that you get on these than what you get on official Joy-Cons. So you don't get HD rumble. However, you do get dual vibration motors in these Joy-Cons, and you can set them to 3 different modes. And then, yeah, but I personally would leave them on the weaker setting. Because it's not HD rumble, I don't think there's not all that much reason to use powerful vibration, because it can just be a bit distracting, especially if you're holding it with one hand and you're looking at the screen as well directly in the center. I personally find powerful vibrations to be a bit distracting, so I tend to just leave it on the weaker setting. But even that is a good enough amount of vibration. The other thing it doesn't have is NFC support, so you can't use your amiibos on these Joy-Cons as well. But luckily for me, I don't own any amiibos. I don't play any games that require amiibos, and it's just not a feature that I will lose any sort of sleep over. Again, you can use your RGB functionality by pressing in the turbo button and the thumbstick to change the colors. And on these solid versions of these Joy-Cons, there is a diffused ring, so that you can't see the naked LED like you can on my Binbox Slims. I'll leave a link in the description of my review of those Joy-Cons if you want to kind of compare between a larger Joy-Con and a slimmer Joy-Con. But yeah, in terms of just 2 weeks of use with these Joy-Cons, I absolutely recommend them over an official pair of Joy-Cons, because they're so much cheaper, they're so much more comfortable. You can use it as a full-size controller. Like with official Joy-Cons, because they're not comfortable even if it's in the grip. The buttons are really quite crap on them, in my opinion. People tend to go out and buy a third-party controller for when they're docked. Like I, for example, have a 8BitDo SN30 Pro Plus to use when I'm docked. But I haven't used that controller since these arrived. So yeah, in terms of just usability, etc., these have just been absolutely fantastic. It's a trick of all trades. It's a full-size controller whilst also being a Joy-Con that's wireless. So again, even say something like the SplitPad Pros, I don't recommend them over these, because these are wireless. You can use them wirelessly. I absolutely recommend these Joy-Cons. I'll leave a link in the description for them. They also sell a official case, so if you do want to take these Joy-Cons on the go, you can get the case, and then it will basically be the exact same experience of just taking your official Joy-Cons out with you, because it will add what, a couple of inches to the size of the case. It's not all that much, considering you're just going to put it in a bag anyway. But yeah, this has been my video on the NYXi Joy-Cons. Massively recommend them. I'll leave an affiliate link in the description if you are at all interested, and I'll also leave a link to my review of these Binbox Slims in case you're interested to see what these are like as well. Again, there's a lot of similarities, but because those are slimmer, the style of the buttons, etc., are slightly different and stuff like that. But in terms of the functionality, they're basically the same. Apart from that, I've been Mick from All About Tech. If you like this video, drop it a like, comment your thoughts down below as always. Subscribe to All About Tech if you like reviews and tech videos just like this one. And I'll catch you guys out in the next video.